and then we'll do the fight, because I want everyone, and I mean everyone.
Amazing. You could fit a...
Boom.
So, you said the eyeless came from the Abbey. I'd heard rumors of the eyeless, but I always thought that name was a metaphor. Though I would have called them Mace Hands of Doom, if anyone had asked me.
That's why they didn't.
Ah, you wound me.
She places her hand over her heart.
So, this is the mysterious army you've been dreaming about, huh? It's a wonder you're getting any sleep.
That's why I came to the Abbey in the first place, to stop them.
I'm regretting all of my decision-making up to this point. Still, I guess a suicidal plan is better than none.
Something on your mind? I thought you'd be happy. You've been looking for the Abbey for a long time.
Yeah, there's something I haven't told you. Well, I don't normally talk about this, but you mentioned your awakening. I guess I've had a similar problem. There's something I remember from a former life. Happened hundreds of years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
How did you remember it?
Happened while I was fighting in Old Valia 20 years ago. My unit was camped out in the palace we'd just taken. The others were roasting the last of the Marcheso's pigs in the feast hall. So, I went to the wine cellars to fetch a few bottles. I don't know how long she'd been hiding there, but there was this old woman. Must have been one of the servants. She had this wild look in her eyes. I approached her and tried to tell her not to be afraid, that she was safe. She screamed and grabbed my arm. It felt like someone had hit me in the back of my head. I blacked out for a few minutes, and when I came to, she was gone. I took a few bottles up with me, feasted with the rest of the troops. But when I went to bunk, I had a dream. Only it was more vivid than any dream I've ever had. I tasted the sweat on my lips, felt the jungle air on my skin, heard the cries.
This dream. This was a memory?
Like when you hear a song you know you've heard before. Anyway, I laid off the drink for several days, but I kept having the dream. After a few weeks, I thought a change of scenery might do me good. Since then, I've been a pirate in the Deadfire, a pilgrim in the White That Wends, an adventurer in the Living Lands, and a gift-bearer in Ashamadal. It was a war, centuries ago before Adiran unification. I was a soldier then. Led a campaign across the northern forests to subdue some of the outlying Kulklan villages. Brutal work.
I don't understand. What war?
This was 500 years ago, when Adir was a folk kingdom on one side and elven country on the other. They fought on and off before they joined. Now the folk and elven rulers marry to keep the peace. Right, the campaign. Lost a third of my forces to the forest, and another third to the elven scouts hiding in it. By the time we reached the first village, we'd crushed their defenses, and they'd bled us. Wasn't much more than children and the elderly left, but they spit on us when we marched into town. The village elders surrendered, and offered us lodging in the old meeting hall. And when the sun set, they tried to burn it down around us. They barely got a flame going, but that wasn't the point.
You had to make an example of them.
In their defiance, I saw months more of pointless, bloody battle as we fought for the rest of the region. I had to break them. And I had to send a message to the rest of the villages. So I nailed every last one of them to the trees around the town and left them there to die.
What happened then? You killed those villagers to prevent more fighting?
That's what I kept telling the troops. But if I'm honest, I was angry. I wanted to see pain. And I wanted to be the one holding a blade.
You've been a mercenary and a pirate in this life. Is that really so different?
I've done my share of fighting these 40-odd years, but I've never drawn my blade just to watch someone bleed. And I've never drawn it on someone who didn't have his own in hand.
It's terrible.
Don't I know it? I told you I was looking for the Abbey of the Fallen Moon so I could leave something behind. There's a pool there, the Salt Well. It's where gift-bearers leave the heaviest burdens. It's said that a person can enter it and leave their own memories behind. Anyway, we should get going.
I wanted to ask you something. How did you end up in Stalwart? The other gift bearers told me Stalwart was close to the Abbey, so they suggested I ask for directions in town. I mean, the other gift bearers don't know where the Abbey is? Like I said, it's one of Andra's most ancient temples, and her followers aren't really known for their records keeping. Not exactly dressed for the weather. Well, his shamels, flat as platter. So when the gift bearers told me Stalwart was way up in the north, I thought they were exaggerating. Anyway, I hate packing. I see. Tell me why you really became a gift bearer. I heard about the order from some missionaries while I was in the Living Lands. I had a bear Andra's doctrine before, but the way they talked about the peace of forgetting, washing the old away with the tide. It sounded good, and gift bearers' work, taking to the road, helping people lose their own burdens. That sounded good too. Kept hoping I'd find a way for me to lose my burden along the way. Tell me about yourself. Where to begin? I spent almost 10 years as a mercenary in Old Avelia. Plenty of work there. After that, I fought with pirates in the Deadfire, or for them, depending on who was paying. Did a short stint of the White that Wens, then roamed around the Living Lands, and finally joined the Gift Bearers in Selmy. And here I am. Actually, why so much travel? I guess staying in one place never much suited me. And you gave up soldiering, piracy, and adventuring to join Andra's Gift Bearers? There's still plenty of adventures, just different circumstances. Actually, I was asking about where you came from before. Not much to tell. I grew up in Rutai, left when I was still there. Still pretty young and haven't been back since. Why not? Spent almost 20 years there. Change of scenery is good, right? See. Questions about some of the lands you visited. What was Old Valley like? Grand skirmish every day and a feast at another Comte or Marquiso's keep every night. Those were good, carefree days. Deadfire. Dangerous. You got pirates and sea monsters, and don't even get me started on the merchants. Had a good run there, but I got tired of trying to keep track of who had a knife pointed at my back. White that wins. Short. That place is too cold for anything but Living Land. Most full car, even after 10 years there, feels like I just saw the edges of the place. You can't start the day in a desert and find yourself in the middle of a jungle by nightfall. Wow. Everything there is just a little wilder. Goes for the folk as well as the creatures. And part of me misses it still, but you wake up every day knowing it might be your last. I stayed lucky longer than anyone has a right to expect. And that's all I wanted to know. Oh, really? Well, pay off.
Hard to imagine a whole sect living out here. But I guess that's the point.
So is she gonna be the only one getting? I think she is. Okay, if this is gonna be the case, I think. Oh, hello, sir. Have at thee.
Hi?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Right.
There we go. Well, I definitely know where we're going at least. But I think we'll be fine. Yeah, this is it. Hey, bud. Going good. 1 second, chat. All right, my apologies about that, chat. Okay. Okay, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? Anyways. And I believe the salt well is here somewhere. Maybe the Chamber of Tears? Huh. What to say? So much for, maybe it's upstairs? Maybe it's upstairs. I was gonna start the Enwood thing. I might still go ahead and do that. Yeah, I might still go ahead and do that. I have no idea if all my companions fight and I just control a certain amount of them, or what's going on. Oh, well,
No good.
was this the salt well, maybe?
That didn't work. That didn't work.
Sure.
Do 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 do.
Hi? Hey.
Oh God. Boom and boom. Lost in a muck. Good one.
How may I help? Hey.
Damn it. By one.
Do 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 boop.
Yes?
Oh god. I mean, sure, pop this on. Oh, and the window. Oh. Jeez, what is with this? This fight is nuts. Of course, Kalov goes back down.
No good.
Oh boy. Actually, just knock her down.
Yeah. No good.
I'm ready.
No good.
There we go. Jeez. About freaking done. And done. Cool. Well,
Sure.
so much for that fight. Maybe in here?
Smells like an ocean breeze. We've got to be close. It's here. The salt well.
And the room is a pool. It's small but deep enough that you can't see the bottom. The glassy surface almost looks frozen. So does Minna. She stands rooted in place, staring
You
at it.
know, I thought it'd be bigger.
And I thought you'd be diving in by now. And Minna makes a little noise of frustration in the back of her throat.
You know how when you've been thinking about something so long, you're worried that when you finally get it, it won't be what you expected?
Yes.
I mean, for all we know, that thing's just filled with leeches.
You're stalling.
Don't remind me.
You were never liable for the massacre you remember. Let go of your guilt.
You're right. Okay, here goes. Oh, that's cold!
She convulses with a sudden shiver, rattling her jewelry. She descends the steps until she's standing in water up to her neck. Hey, what year is it?
Oh, very funny. This is the right pool, isn't it?
This is the Temple of Andra. Perhaps you need to give something up. Her eyes goes wide, and she snaps her fingers.
I've got it.
She digs through her pack and produces a thick bundle of cloth bound with leather. It's the same bundle you glimpsed earlier. She snaps the leather cords and unrolls the cloth, revealing a wine bottle.
Took this from the Marcheso cellar the night I awakened. Been saving it for a special occasion.
Minna cradles the bottle and brushes dust from the green glass. Heaving a sigh, she swings it by the neck and smashes against the steps. You could have offered me a drink first. Minna drops the rest of the broken bottle into the pool, where it spirals into the depths. Meanwhile, the wine has formed a roiling, bloody cloud in the water. It spreads in long, swirling tendrils. Surface of the pool ripples and Minna paddles at the spreading cloud. Crimson tentacles erupt from it, with writhing and reaching. Minna gasps as one wraps around her arm.
Neha, take my hand!
And grab Minna. You reach for her just as another wine-colored tentacle wraps around her head. She shouts as it pulls her under. Eder grabs your arm and pulls you back before you fall in too. Minna disappears into the pool. You can't see anything through the crimson murk, except for the blossoming cloud of wine. The waters look perfectly still again. The seconds scroll by.
Where did that thing come from?
At last, bubbles break the surface. Are you alright? She thinks about this for a moment. She nods. Minna climbs up the steps and out of the salt well. As she does, the reddish color dissipates from the water, leaving only the glassy clear surface and the unfathomable depths below. What do you remember? She squints, thinking. Water pools at her feet.
I remember running, but I don't remember what chased me. And I remember fear, but I don't remember what scared me.
She looks back at the salt well.
I gave something up, but I don't remember why.
How do you feel? She tilts her head to one side and wiggles a finger in her ear until a spurt of water streams out.
I'll feel better after a glass of wine.
Something drips onto the floor. She holds her right arm up, looks at the a trickle of blood running from a cut in her hand. She takes the folded cloth, the one she'd wrapped the wine bottle in, from the floor and staunches the bleeding. Mineo is granted clean conscience. She jerks her head towards the exit. Edorin. Yeah, Edorin Ayla, finally max level. Oh, awesome. That's awesome, finally. Sweet. Yes. Let's go and get him maxed up. More stealth will be fine. Aha. Okay, what do we got here? Caster, Major, Grimoire, Imprint. Oh, Mentalets, Piercing. Characters, hitting Caster. Have a physical feigned Valiant Wizard Mentalete. When he or she is struck in melee, the sigil retaliates with piercing damage, pushing the target back and leaving them stunned. Oh. And there's Wilting Wind. You know, let's do this. I don't know what I want out of here, so Veterans Recovery. Boom. Jeez. Aloth.